What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to more C4, your home to all Philadelphia Eagles this year. Make sure if you're your first time stopping by, you hit that subscribe button. You work out the channel for the YouTube algorithm. I would love to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the regular season. But we react to all things Eagles, and today let's talk about the Eagles' bounce-back victory after the ugly loss last week against the Jets, ending their undefeated season. Going to 6-1 with a 31-17 victory over the Miami Dolphins. Miami's good. I think when Miami gets healthy, they are the most talented team in the AFC. But had some injuries here tonight, especially on the offensive line, which I think cost them a lot of bad, sloppy mistakes. A lot of penalties going Miami Dolphins. I know like the casual Dolphin fan on Twitter will be like, 10 penalties to no, the refs were absolutely robbing it. And I think if you're criticizing the penalties, it's the fact that Philly got 0. Because the 10 penalties on Miami, almost all of them were legitimate penalties. Like, not even like that was holding by the letter of the law. Like, just offside, neutral zone infraction, false starts. It was sloppy football from the Miami Dolphins. I think obviously a big part of that is their offensive line. It's not, I don't even know how many starters they have right now. What, 2? 2 out of 5 is not good. We've seen many years in Philadelphia where we have no one on the offensive line and our team absolutely sucks. And I think the fact that the Miami football, I mean, they're 5-2 and their 2 losses are against their 2 good teams, which that never feels good, right? It makes you self-doubt your squad a little bit. But the fact that this is not a remotely even healthy Miami Dolphins team, like if they can get everyone healthy on the same page late in season, they're going to be incredibly dangerous because the Kansas City Chiefs have looked good, but nothing special. They got, sure, Mahomes and Kelsey can take over games, but for the most part, Chiefs have been like, Buffalo just lost to New England. Like, they play inconsistent football. Sometimes it's like the two-face on Josh Allen. Sometimes he's Josh Allen. Sometimes he literally will just be Carson Wentz, which is not good. I mean, the Ravens are kind of solid, but I think for the most part, I think a healthy Miami Dolphins team is the best team in the AFC. And luckily, they weren't fully healthy tonight. We'll take full advantage of that. And I think it was the flash of Miami that met the strength and toughness of Philadelphia. And that's always going to win, especially in an environment like this, especially when you play sloppy football the way the Miami Dolphins did. That's a big-time dub for the Philadelphia Eagles. And it wasn't perfect, though. We kind of were hoping from this game that it would be like, all right, the wake-up call was the Jets loss. We're going to play a lot better. And the reality is Jalen Hurts, 2 turnovers again. And they were ugly, an ugly interception, which you could have got punished in the first half doing the same thing, just throwing it right into a blitzing defender. For the fumble was just staying way too long in the pocket. 0 ball security. What does he fucking think? He's Sean McCoy out there? Do hands on it, buddy. Like, quicker internal clock. Throw the ball away. Jalen Hurts is still not reading the game at the $255 million level. But I think tonight, and fairly similar before the Jets loss, Jalen Hurts is like, he's doing enough for us to win. There's still plenty of good that is there. It just sucks that Jalen Hurts has really yet to play like a $255 million quarterback. And I don't think that's that much of a hot take. I don't think that's an Jalen Hurts hater take. $255 million, he needs to be elite. And I think we've probably got, 4 total elite quarters out of Jalen Hurts this year. Some of it is absolutely down to play calling. Some of it is Brian Johnson going with 2 QB runs. And by those runs, they look like quarterback walks. That's what I'm going to start calling because Jalen Hurts is just not running a whole lot. Like, is he hurt? Like, he picked up an injury in this game. I believe he limped out of the first half, came back with, like, something around his knee. But, like, even before that, like, Jalen Hurts looks slower this year. And we've kind of just tossed it off the fact, like, maybe he's protecting himself a little bit, which, if you told me we'd be losing, like, 1 or 2 more explosive plays in a game, but Jalen Hurts is going to play a full 17 games, like, that's obviously a trade-off you make if he needs to alter his play style that way. But some of these just, like, he looks, like, is he uninterested? He's, like, kind of walking. Like, I don't know. And if he's injured and he's just toughing it through it and it's not getting leaked out of Philly, it would explain a lot. But I still think, man, the fact that, and a lot of people just keep tweeting like, man, Philly's pretty scary. The fact that they're putting up 30 points a game and they're 6-1 and it feels like they've yet to play their best football. And that is like a backhanded another way of saying like Jalen Hurts hasn't played well yet. Jalen Hurts has not played up to the level that we saw last year in the Super Bowl. When is that going to happen? Is it going to happen? Well, we got Commanders next week on the road. Usually that's an easier game for some reason. Like, I think Washington plays us a lot better when they come to the link. But it'd be a great week for Jalen Hurts to go. Like, he needs a game with no turnovers. And I feel like that's something that could start to snowball some confidence there. And it might also help, if we have a turnover-free game, maybe that will start giving some ripples and some telling some hands of what he likes and doesn't like to Brian Johnson to help call a turnover-free game. Because it obviously is a little bit of a tandem between the OC and the quarterback in doing so. But I'd give Jalen Hurts like a B, trending towards a B+ tonight. Even with the mistakes, the good was still very good. And obviously, the tush push success goes on Jalen Hurts, and that is an awesome play. And if they ban the tush push, that is the most anti-American, and I'm not even an American thing that they could ever do. The fact that I hate Mike Tirico is like a sexual predator. Go look up like what Mike Tirico sexual misconduct. Fuck Mike Tirico. That guy is a like Deshaun Watson's up here, and like Mike Tirico's. I'm not even literally like if Deshaun's up here, Tirico's like somewhere down here, which is still way too much for a guy that's on every Sunday. Okay, that's the first point. Second point is he's like every week Philly's on. He's like advocating that they're gonna get rid of this because of player safety. What do you mean because of play? We don't have. No one ever gets hurt on us. I think that if you're going to chalk up like the Giants sucking at the play and getting hurt, and the Raiders sucking at the play and have someone get hurt, that's on them. Don't call it. If they can't run it and they're afraid that their players are going to hurt, don't call it. That's like saying like, well, the Eagles throw a screen pass. Every time they throw a screen pass, Kenny Gainwell caught it, got a concussion. DeAndre Swift got it, suicide pass, got a concussion. We got to ban the screen passes because one team keeps running it and someone gets hurt. Even though, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is absolutely ridiculous that this could be even up for debate. I almost think like, if you're like someone that hates it, like you hate the Eagles and you hate the fact they get the tush, if they ban it, it's only going to get worse because then we're just going to be like, we literally have a play that was so good that all your other teams complained to get it banned. Like, that is the ultimate compliment in a way. Even though it sucked we couldn't run it, and I would imagine that Philadelphia would find a different way to still utilize the strength of our offensive line and Jalen Hurts, there's no way they're going to ban. There's absolutely no way. So, you know what? Fuck it. I'm giving Jalen Hurts a B+ on vibes because it's Kelly Green. DeAndre Swift, 62 yards. We have 16 yards. Kenny Gainwell got the touchdown for the running backs. And it was actually badass, filthy spin move from Kenny Gainwell. DeAndre Swift had a couple really good runs. Generally decent job by the Miami defense. I didn't really think they were much of a run defense coming to this one. I thought this was going to be the key to victory for the Philadelphia Eagles is grind out with the run game, chew up a bunch of clock, which is absolutely what they did. Keep Tua and those guys off the field. But, I mean, we didn't really have a crazy rushing performance. Didn't even hit 100 yards. But there still was really good runs in there from Kenny G and DeAndre Swift. So I'd give the run game, I'd give them an A. They did their job tonight. They got conversions when they needed to with the push. And that's all you can ask for from the offense. A.J. Brown is, if Tyreek Hill's the best wide receiver in the league this year, which I don't think you can really dispute that, A.J. Brown's the number 2 wide receiver in the league this year. You cannot, he is on fire. He is unstoppable. He is, last year, maybe a couple drop, issues. Not saying he had drop issues, but just there was a couple untimely drops. Those aren't really there this year. 10 catches, 137 yards, and a touchdown. We got Dallas Goedert involved. I think if we can just find a way to get 1 or 2 more plays to Devontae Smith, that is the balance this offense needs to have to be firing on all cylinders. Even then, though, Devontae had a couple really, really nice grabs there. We got Julio Jones. That's probably like one of the biggest pops of the night. Julio Jones getting a 3-yard catch, which is awesome. That's awesome to have him in the room. Obviously, aspirations of the Philadelphia Eagles this year to go and win a Super Bowl could get Julio Jones a ring. But I think that's just a nice veteran. And if there ever is, a game that someone might not be able to play, because we're not going to jinx and throw any injuries up in the world. Julio, for a game or two, having to rely on him on the outside to start, could do a lot worse in the NFL. But receivers, mostly because of A.J. Brown, they get an A+. They were outstanding here today. And I love the fact that Dallas Goedert is getting involved in the offense. Defensively, very good. You can hold Tyreek Hill under 100 yards. There's no stopping Tyreek Hill. He's going to get his. You just got to limit it. Luckily, Jalen Waddle, I believe he's hurt his back or something like that early in the game. Really, outside, Terrell Edmonds was pretty out of place on the Tyreek Hill touchdown, which only adds a little bit more fuel to the fire of should Philly be aggressive and go look at a Budda Baker or Justin Simmons for the trade deadline and shore up that safety room, which I think is a very valid take and discussion to have. I think really Cedric Wilson got open and made a pretty good grab. I think that 29-yard grab on a 3rd and long on Slay, which was a little underwhelming out of Darius Slay, if I was being honest. Maybe that's just because, Slay needs, an elite corner's probably not getting beat by Cedric Wilson. But then Slay made ridiculous, instinctive interception, completely redeemed himself, right? Insert the scene from Dumb and Dumber. And I think defense played well. You hold Tyreek, you limit Tyreek, you eliminate Mostert, that really good run game. We got pressures when we needed to. Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, half sack, 2 sacks for Josh Sweat. Nolan Smith got a sack, which you love to see. I don't know how they only gave Jordan Davis a half sack. I think he had a sack and a half. He got a touch on Tua, like basically gave up on a play. I'm pretty sure if you touch him, it's a sack. So I'm pretty sure that is a sack and a half. That should be a sack for Jalen Carter. 0? Yeah, no, he should have 1. Jalen Carter was ridiculous. I thought Nakobe Dean had a pretty strong game. Anytime they're doing like kind of quick little crosses and stuff like that, he was making tackles. I love seeing Cindy Brown out there. No real mistakes. I love, go down here, Eli Ricks, 4th down, final play of the game. Go to Tyreek Hill. Eli Ricks gets the PBU. Like, that is the kind of play that can spiral more confidence for Eli Ricks with Sean Desai to get on the field more. And if we can get something out of Eli Ricks can slowly start getting on the field. The fact, like, we needed one of him or Keely Ringo to develop, I think, into a contributor this year. And obviously, Eli Ricks, UDFA, a little bit lower stock coming into camp than Keely Ringo, drafted corner out of Georgia. But Eli Ricks was a former 5-star. Right? And he shined during the preseason, especially against the Colts preseason game where he was going up against the ones. He was shutting down Alec Pierce. He was shutting down Michael Pittman. That is awesome for Tyreek Hill to get that is, first of all, I would show that as a sign of respect that you're throwing a UDFA out there, do or die drive for Miami, covering Tyreek Hill, and he gets the PBU. So hopefully that starts to open the door for more reps for Eli Ricks. Overall for the defense, A+. Absolutely bang-up job against the Dolphins. Pass rush was there. Secondary held up. Ben didn't break. Special teams was, is what it is. Nothing too crazy. Only had a punt at once. But A+ from the defense. Game ball. Offensively, A.J. Brown. Defensively, probably Sweat, I'd say. Josh Sweat. Got 2 sacks, 2 TFLs. Jordan Davis continues to be strong. I always want to just say the whole front 7. Whole front 7 for the Philadelphia Eagles gets the game ball there. But I'd love to hear you guys think about this one, especially Dolphin fans. It might be a little salty, but I hope this was a little bit of a Super Bowl practice, right? Rehearsal, if you will, and we can run it back again because I think these are the 2 best teams in the NFL. And I think a fully healthy Eagles, fully healthy Dolphins. And by fully healthy Eagles, I mean like our offense figures it the fuck out a little bit. I think that could be an absolute all-time classic. But that'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit your subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed. Until next time, it's Boise 4. Say a peace. I love you. Have a good one. Fly, go Birds.